Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down sources into clear, dynamic presentations. All right, let's get right into it. Today's source is, well, it's pretty unique. We're looking at a completely anonymous, totally unfiltered chat with a 23-year-old woman where she opens up about her deepest sexual desires.
You know, the whole reason this chat is so revealing is because of that anonymity. It created this safe space where she could speak with, zero reservations. And what that gives us is this incredibly rare peek into a very private world. This is all about one person's experience, their complex inner life, told with total honesty.
So where do we begin? First up, we're going to explore her core desires, and just as importantly, the really clear lines she draws around them. This is where things get fascinating, because you see this huge contrast between what she fantasizes about and what is absolutely off-limits.
Right out of the gate, she's very clear. She prefers rough, or in our own words, violent-like porn. But here's the thing, it's not just about watching it. She's explicit that this is something she actually wants to experience with a partner.
Okay, and this is where the nuance really comes in. Her thing for roughness, it's not about pain. It's not about humiliation. What she wants is to be held down firmly, to be tied up, to have her partner in total control. But she draws a very hard line. No hitting, no insults, and definitely no acts like urination or whipping. See the difference? It's all about consensual power, not actual pain.
And she gets incredibly specific about her ideal scenario. She says, I want to lie on the bed and have my hands and feet tied to the bed. She wants to be completely immobilized, totally surrendering all physical control. This single image is right at the heart of her fantasy, but it's all happening inside this safe, consensual bubble that she defines.
And this is where a really fascinating conflict starts to emerge. Think about it. She knows exactly what she wants. But there's this massive gap between that desire she feels inside and what she believes she can actually ask a partner for.
So that's the big question, right? If you know what you want, why not just ask for it? This is really the heart of her whole struggle. That divide between knowing and asking. It's a huge internal conflict, and her answer tells us a whole lot.
Well, she admits she never asks for what she wants directly. We're talking about the rough sex she fantasizes about, or even anal sex, which she also wants. Nope. She says she just lets him take the lead. She waits for her partner to make the move, every single time.
So why? When she's asked why, her answer is simple. I can't. My pride won't let me. And boom, there it is. It's pride. That's the barrier. It's not that she's unsure or doesn't want it enough. It's this incredibly powerful internal force that just stops her from ever saying the words out loud.
But it goes even deeper than that. When she's asked if it's actually wrong to ask, she says yes, morally. So this isn't just a personal feeling of pride. She genuinely believes it is morally inappropriate for her, as a woman, to be the one to initiate these specific sexual acts. That's a really deeply ingrained belief.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little and look at a major external influence here, pornography. We're going to dive into the role it plays, and more importantly, that super clear line she draws between what's okay in fantasy versus what's okay in her real life.
When you look at what she watches, it's pretty clear she's attracted to scenarios that go way beyond what she'd ever do in reality. She's into really rough scenes, and she mentions being aroused by group sex, specifically one woman with multiple men. These are things she finds incredibly stimulating to watch, but they stay firmly on the screen.
And this is the real kicker. When she's asked if she'd ever actually try group sex, her answer is a hard no. I don't want to do it for moral reasons, she says. So you see this stark, uncrossable line between what she loves as a visual fantasy and what she considers morally okay for her own life. For her, the screen is a playground for ideas that reality just isn't.
Now, it's also really important to get how this chat was going down. This wasn't just some abstract conversation about porn, you know? The person she was talking to was actually sending her pornographic videos in real time based on what she said she was interested in. This created this direct, immediate feedback loop between the talk and the media itself.
And all of this leads us to what is, honestly, the most powerful part of the entire exchange. This is where that combination of super candid talk and the curated video she was watching, it completely transforms the conversation. It stops being just a chat and becomes a real-time, physical event.
So what happens is, after watching some of these videos that were sent to her, and while they're still in the middle of this explicit discussion, she just goes quiet for a bit. The intensity of it all,
The stimulation from the conversation and the visuals, it just becomes, well, overwhelming.
And then she reveals what happened during that silence. She just comes out and says it. I orgasmed. The powerful combo of the explicit talk and the videos had a direct physical result. She masturbated and had an orgasm right then and there.
But it wasn't just any orgasm. She describes it as a new feeling, something that was great. It was different, more powerful than anything she'd experienced before. It's like the psychological release from finally talking about this stuff, combined with the visual stimulation, it created this entirely new peak for her.
So they ask her, why was it so different? And her answer, this is really the emotional heart of the whole confession. She says, I imagined someone was fucking me with love. Wow. So the reason it was so profound wasn't just physical. It was because, in her imagination, she was able to fuse that rough, dominant fantasy with a deep emotional connection. The ultimate pleasure wasn't just being taken forcefully, but being taken forcefully with love.
So let's step back for a second. What can we take away from this incredibly raw and candid confession? What does it all really mean? Well, for one thing, this anonymous chat really pulls back the curtain on just how complex our inner worlds are, right? We see that desire isn't simple. It has layers, and there's often this huge wall built between our fantasy life and our real life. We see how things like pride or societal pressure can literally silence our deepest wants. But maybe the most powerful takeaway, it's that even inside the roughest, most extreme fantasies, that core desire for a loving, emotional connection, that can be the most powerful ingredient of all.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. How many desires like these are still unspoken? How many are just waiting for the safety of a screen, for that cloak of anonymity, just to be heard? It makes you wonder about all the hidden worlds inside of us and what it really takes for them to finally find a voice.